Good afternoon. Myself Lucky Sharma, working in AKGC, working in AGCC as an assistant professor in CSE department. Now today's topic is file handling. Now what are the objectives? What are the today's objectives of file handling? That is understanding files, data files, types of files, file streams, opening and closing of files, reading and writing files. Now, what is file handling? File handling is an important part of any web application. A file in itself is a bunch of bytes stored in some storage devices, that is like hard disk, thumb drive, etc. Python has several functions for creating, reading, updating, closing, and deleting files. Now file handling operations is creating, reading, updating and deletion. Now types of file. How many types of file we have three types of file, that is text file, binary file and CSV files. What are the data files? Data files are the files that is stored data pertaining to a specific application or for the later use. Now we already discussed about the types of file: text file, binary file and CSV file, that is comma separated value files. What is text file? Text file is usually considered as a sequence of lines. Line is a sequence of characters, that is the values in an ASCII or in Unicode, stored on permanent storage media. The default character coding in Python is ASCII. Each line is terminated by a special character known as the end of the line, that is EOL. At the lowest level, text file will be a collection of bytes. The text files are stored in human readable form and they can also be created using any text editor. Now, what is binary file? Binary file contains arbitrary binary data, that is number stored in file can be used for numerical operations. Now, so when we work on a binary file, we have to interpret raw bit patterns and read from the file into the correct type of data or in our program. In the case of binary file, it is extremely important that we interpret the correct data type while reading the file. Python provides special modules for encoding and decoding of data for the binary files. Now what is CSV file? CSV comma separated values. Comma separated values file is delimited text file. It is a delimited text file that uses comma to separate values. End line of the file is a data record. Each record consists of one or more fields separated by commas. That's why the name is CSV, comma separated files. The use of the comma is as a field separator is the source of the name for its file format. CSV file format used to transfer data from one application to another application. CSV file both numbers and text in plain text. Means it contains both numbers or text in a plain text. Now what are text files? A difference between text file and binary file. Text file are the sequential files and binary files contains the arbitrary binary data. Text file only stores data. Binary files are used to store binary data such as images, videos, audios and text. There is a in text file there is a delimiter EOL, means that is end of the line. And there is no delimiter. Due to delimiter, text files make more time to process while reading or writing operations are performed on file. No presence of delimiter makes file to process fast while reading or writing operations are performed on file. Text files are easy to understand because these files are in human readable form. Binary files are difficult to understand. Text files are having extension .txt and binary files having extension .dat extension. Programming on text files are very easy and programming on binary files are very difficult. Less prone to get the correct as changes reflects as soon as the file is opened and can easily be undone. Programming here in binary data can easily get corrupted. Even a single bit changes may corrupt the file. Next is standard input and output error streams. What are these? What this is standard input device, standard DAW, standard in reads from the keyboard, standard output device, standard out that is print to the display and can be redirected as standard input, and standard error devices is standard error that is same as the standard out but normally only for the errors. This is only used for the errors. And standard input output device as a file. What is this? System dot standard dot read would let you read from the keyboard, and system dot standard out dot write would let you write on the monitor. If you import system module in your program, then for reading and writing for standards in output devices, here we use this and this one. Next is operations file open. How you can open the file in Python? The key function of working with files in Python is open function. By using this function, you can open the file by some parameters. And what are that parameters? The open function takes two parameters, that is file name and the mode. What is the mode of the file and what is the file name? There are four methods or modes for opening a file. How many modes are there? There are four modes. What are they? R, A, W and X. What is R? R is read. Default value means open a file for reading. Error if the file does not exist, means it opens a file for the reading. A is for append, opens a file for appending, creates the file if does not exist. Then W writes, open a file for writing, creates the file if it does not exist. If the file does not exist, it creates, but it gives an error if we are using the R operation and file is not there in the system. And A is for append. Append creates the file if the file does not exist. In addition, you can X creates the specified files, returns an error if the file exists. Means the X is used for creating the file, but if the file already exists, then it gives the error. Now, in addition, you can specify if the file should be handled as binary or text file. That is, T is for text file and B is for binary mode. T is for text. Text means default value or the text mode, and binary means videos, audios, images, everything will be in the binary mode. These are the default modes. Now, what is the syntax? Syntax is F open demo file.txt. If the file is exist, it opens the file, otherwise it gives an error. And what is this? The above open demo file.txt. RT, R is used for read and T is used for text. This is the text file. This is the text file, and T is the text for the default values. You do not need to specify them. These are some modes of file. What is this? R plus is text file read and write mode. RB is binary file read. RB is binary file read. W is text file write mode. WB is text and binary file write mode. W is text file read and write mode. R is text file read and write mode. WB text and binary file read and write mode. A is append text files at the end of the file. A file is created, not exist. AB appends both text and binary files at the end of the file. A plus text files appending and reading. AB plus text and binary file for appending and reading. For example, F equals to open text dot dat AB plus. What does this mean? Dat is binary file. So text.dat is a binary file and is open in both modes, that is in reading and in an appending form. Now next is close. Close method is used when you will free up all the system resources used by the file. This means once the file is closed, we will not open to use the file. We will not use to open the file object anymore. Once we close the file, we cannot use any object of the file. File object dot close. This is the syntax will be used to close the file object once we have finished working on it. And what is the syntax? Filehandle dot close. For example, fout dot close. File reading methods. There are three methods of file reading. What is this? This is read method, read line method, and read lines method. For reading, this is program reads a text or binary file from the hard disk. It file acts as an input to the program. Read method. Read method returns the whole text, but you can also specify how many characters you want to return. The read method is used to read the entire file, that is file object dot read. How many characters you want to read or how many characters you want to return from the whole syntax. And read only part of the file, that is syntax file object dot read, that is size. The open function returns a file object which has to be read method reading the content of the file. Example F, we can declare F open demo file dot txt_r means print f dot read 5 means it returns the five characters of the file, that is demo file. Now read line method will return a line read as a string from the file. In this first call to function will return first line, second call next line, and so on. And the syntax is file object dot read line. The open function returns a file object which has a read line method for reading the content of the file. Will return only one line from the file, but demo file text file containing 3 lines of the text, so it will returns one by one. First call to function will return first line, second line, and then so on. So how's the output? This is Python, then file handling, and next line is India or whatever. So the how the output is looks like? The output is looks like this. Returns the first line of the demo text file. Read lines method. Read lines method will returns a list of string, each separated by the slash of, and read lines can be used to read the entire content of the file. You need to be careful while using it with respect to the size of the memory required before. In this, the size of the memory is required before using the function. You have to mention, or you have to clarify the what is the size of the memory, and the syntax is file object dot read lines, as it returns a list which can be used there for manipulation. And example is f, what we have to declare here, we have to declare demo text file r print read line. This read line will return a string each separated by this and of the demo text file. It will returns a list of string, but in read files we have to write. Here we have to write by this output. This is Python. So in read lines, what we have to do? We have to do next line. This is for next line. File writing method. There are two writing methods, that is write line and write lines method. For the write lines method, you must add a parameter to open, that is A for append will append to the end of the file, and W, it will overwrite any existing content. Here you have to use two parameters. What is this? This is A and W. A is for append to the end of the line, and write is used for overwrite to any existing content. Then write method takes the string as parameter and write it in the file. For example, open the file in demo file and append content to the file. What is this? Here we have declared f open demo file dot txt, f dot write. Now the file has more content, f dot close. Open and read the file after the appending, and this is f open demo file dot to dot, and what is this? Output append f dot read, and this is the output, the file which is contained in the demo file. Now read lines method, for writing a string at a time we use write method. It cannot be used for writing a list, tuple, etc. into a file. Sequence data types can be written using write lines method in a file. It's not that we can't write a string using write lines method. So whenever we have to write a sequence or for string data type, we will use write lines instead of write. File object dot read lines dot sequence, and this is the output that is contained in the demo file. And what is this? Is string hello world. This is my first file, and file handling. This is the file which is contained in the demo file. Random access method. There are two access methods, that is seek method and tell method. Seek method can be used to position the file object at a particular place in the file. For the particular place in the file, we have to use the seek method, and the syntax is file object dot seek, that is offset from to what, from where to where you have to set the position, and beginning of the file, current position of the file, and end of the file. Here the default value is 0, means the beginning of the file. If we have to write hello, so this is 0. By default we have counted 0. For example, f.seek 7. So 7 means keeps the file pointer and reads the file content from the 8th position onwards. Tell method returns an integer giving the current position of the object in the file. It gives the current position of the file. And this is the example. File, tell method, open, seek data, and this is the output. This is the attributes name, closed, mode and soft space. Name returns the name of the file, closed returns true if the file is closed, otherwise false. Mode in which the file is to be opened, and soft space returns a boolean that indicates whether a space character need to be printed before another value. These are the file methods: readable, writable, file number, flush is, truncate, and next. This returns true, false. True, false in readable, and writable it returns the integer descriptor used by the Python, and this is internal buffer false. Clear the internal buffer for the file. It returns true if the file is connected, otherwise gives false. Truncate the file up to the specified bytes, and iterate over a file when the file is used as an iterator. This is how you create the binary files. Picking and uppicking. There are two methods, that is dump method and load method. Dump method is used to write the object in the file, and for this the syntax is dump object.file object, and load method is used for read the binary file. Dump method is used for write in the file, and load method is used to read the file. How can we handling the file through OS model? This by relative path of the file is the file location where it starts from the current working directory, and absolute path of the file is the file location where it start from the topmost directory. Two paths, absolute path and relative path. This is the methods: OS make directory, OS list directory, get cwd path, create a folder, list of the content, show the current working directory, show the file size in bytes of file object, is pass parameters in a folder, in a file, change directory folder, rename a file and delete a file. Thank you.